Sky Squad, we are back in the building, and of course, it's time for our weekly review of Speak On It. And of course, we have got to break down everything that happened on Speak On It. You know, I love these because we get a behind the scenes glimpse of what really happened during an episode, or at least from the lens of Kandi and her team. This specific episode was hosted by DJ A1, but the great thing is Kandi happened to jump on. I typically prefer for Kandi to be on the Speak On It, mostly because I really want to know what happened, behind the scenes. I want to know the extras that we might have missed during the scene. I do think it's cool that, she has people come in to, guest co-host when she's not available to, but I really prefer for Kandi to speak on it because I want to know what her perspective is on the show. And she did not disappoint. Before we dive into that, guys, listen, if you are in the DMV this Saturday here in Franklin Park in the DC area, I will be hosting the DC Wave Fest, where we will be focusing on all things wellness. We have some back to school giveaways. So wellness includes anything from financial wellness, mental wellness, physical wellness, spiritual wellness. It will be interactive, so you can have in-person consultations with people in those specific areas if you want to help upgrade your life, along with some music, prizes, giveaways, as well as live performances. So be sure to stop by from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Franklin Park this Saturday here in DC. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and stage dive into everything that Kandi had to say on this week's Speak On It. So it starts off with A1, but then Kandi jumps in, okay? And she has to remind everyone who was saying that, well, Kandi ain't worldwide. She reminds the people that even her hit single, Don't Think I'm Not, was top 10 in Europe. The song went buck wild overseas, according to the Kandi. Not only is she referring to the songs that she participated in as the singer, but also the songs that she has written, like the No Scrubs, like the songs from Destiny's Child. You know what I'm saying? Even up to current day hits from Ed Sheeran. Okay, so, she's letting the people know who were saying that, oh, well, she ain't really that big overseas. Yeah, she is. Okay. So she reveals that she was cursing Marlo the F out. And of course, they edited out a lot of it because it was just, I think, too much for TV, okay? They was going ham on each other with the curse words. She says she also had a deal on the table, so she really wasn't trying to lose her ish with Marlo, and she was really kind of concerned about that. But she does compliment the show and says that they did a good job of showing what they actually could show. She says they cut most of what she said about Marlo and them getting Marlo a show on another network, which we know was WeTV. She says that Marlo wasn't able to actually be on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, we had known that she just wasn't on there, but the whole notion that she wasn't able to be on there. And then she says Kandi says it was when her and Nene were arguing. So my question is, was Marlo blocked from coming back because of Nene? Just curious. Now, Kandi then says that Marlo didn't know what to do with herself at the time. So she came to Kandi and Todd. So they worked on a pitch for her for another network. And now I'm assuming that network was WeTV at the time, because that's where the show was going to be eventually. And she said the network came back to them and says, we don't know about this, And so what Kandi and Todd did was they added more people to the show to build around Marlo. And then that is how I had heard this back in the day, with the show featuring, Funky Dineva as well. So there could have been that whole show. But apparently, one day away from beginning to film, Marlo effed the situation up because she wanted to come back to the Real Housewives of Atlanta as a friend when she could have been the boss on her own show. Okay. So I found that very interesting. Personally, for me, I would definitely think that I would want to go and be a boss on my own show. I mean, granted, I understand that Bravo is a different type of network in terms of, people look at Bravo a little bit differently than how they look at WeTV. But dang, I mean, getting your own show, I don't know, man. That could have been something really, really big. Anyway, Kandi also says that she was the main one asking for the network to get Marlo a peach. And Kandi was upset because she kept bringing her mama up in the argument at the dinner table on this past week's episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. And she kept bringing up Todd, and she knows that that is a trigger for Kandi. She says that Marlo was really going in on Ralph and Drew really wasn't saying anything. Now, she says that Marlo was going in so hard on Ralph that they didn't even show a lot of it. And she also says that she knew that when Marlo started talking about Todd, that Todd couldn't really go in because there was only really so much that he could say before people started saying, oh, well, he shouldn't be coming at a woman or something like that. But the woman was really letting Todd have it, okay? She was really kind of disrespecting him to his face in front of the whole table, okay? And then Kandi says, now, and if Mama Joyce had been there, it would have been a whole different situation for Marlo, okay? So, the question comes up about when it is that Todd could have potentially told Marlo that he thought that Kandi was a country bumpkin. She doesn't believe that happened. She says that she herself only talked to Todd on the last day of the trip. And then she says that this country poo nanny then locked him down. So Marlo saying that Todd called her a country bumpkin, I mean, she's more than willing to accept that title because she got him and they building an empire together, okay? And she says Marlo doesn't even have a man to show, but always got something to say about somebody else's man, okay? A1 then says, I mean, of course that Punani Donnie over there is getting old. I was like, ooh. Kandi says, well, you can't sell that wrinkled Punani forever. Listen, I was on the floor, okay? Kandi is really also upset at Marlo in real life at this point because of all the interviews that she's doing. And she admits that they actually kind of make up on the show. But, she says that it's only because they made up in real time on the show. But she didn't realize the things that Marlo has said about her previously. And now she's mad about the things that Marlo has been saying about her in Marlo's interviews. So she also wants to make it clear that she's not speaking negatively on Michael and William. She goes on about how she thinks they're great boys. She just doesn't like how Marlo has started something with them and didn't continue it. So the conversation is not about the boys. It's about Marlo, okay? And she reiterates that she thinks that the boys are amazing. So Todd kind of jumps in, for a second. And he laughs and basically says, well, it's Marlo. And he doesn't really want to come at her. He feels like she's just disrespectful. And, he really can't speak on her the way he would if it was a guy. So he just wanted to reiterate that, he knows how she got on the show, referring to his comment about how she bought her way onto the Real Housewives of Atlanta and how they were trying to get her on another show. And he's just like, why would you do us this way? So she also comments about how Sheree tried to sideways compliment her during the whole, there was a segment on the show about whether or not Kandi was actually worldwide or not. And Sheree says, well, Kandi, she did have a show on Broadway, but that's just New York or whatever. Not really wanting to give Kandi her props about her accomplishments and her accolades. Then Kandi goes on to talk about some of those accolades, including contributing $60 million in worldwide sales to different albums, Escape having traveled the world, her solo music being top 10 across different countries. Then they go on about how long Sheree has been on the show and still hasn't bossed up with any of her businesses except for that house, which is, that house is everything, okay? And then they go on to compare, and they're like, we got tags over here. We got Blaze Steak and Seafood over here. We got OLG over here. We got the Dungeon Tour over here. We got Escape having sold out tours over here. We got Bedroom Kandi over here. And people be lined up down the block for these things. So then here's where things get even more interesting. Kayla joins Speak on It. And Kayla is Todd's daughter, and she pretty much agreed with Todd, and she says that wasn't really shown on the episode about, how the money should be distributed in the trust should anything, happen to either Todd or Kandi, which hopefully we pray doesn't happen like that or anything like that. But she says she's grateful the way that Todd raised her, and she doesn't feel that she needs to be given all the money at once because she could potentially blow it, but she doesn't really spend like that anymore because she has things that she wants to accomplish. She also surprisingly reveals, it's not so surprising to be honest with you, that she and Riley don't speak and they don't text and they don't really see each other unless it's for family events. But she is adamant that she does let Riley know that if she ever needs her, she's only a phone call away. It doesn't really surprise me that they don't really speak or talk like that because, well, first of all, they weren't raised together and they were raised completely different. So I just, this general sense that I get from even when they are in the scene together is that they wouldn't really be all that close because they don't have that level of, I would say, growing up together type history. And they just seem like, honestly, two completely different people. So, you're not always going to be close to every sibling that you have, especially even in a blended family. So I wasn't really too shocked, but I was kind of shocked. I wasn't really shocked about it, but I think that it was refreshing to see Kayla be so honest about it or whatever. But that's it for the review on Speak on It. There was a lot that was said, y'all. So if you haven't checked it out, be sure to check it out. Kandi jumps in about halfway through. So if you kind of are interested in just what Kandi had to say, started about the halfway point. But of course, A1 always gives hilarious commentary. So if you are here for it, definitely check out the entire episode. But I always love these types of behind the scenes discussions. Like, I wish more people did what Kandi and Dr. Heavenly do, because I feel like it extends the conversation and it allows us to get an idea of everything that happened that we didn't get a chance to see, which is exciting to me because it fills in the gaps. So that's it for this week's episode or this week's review of Speak on It. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comment section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next video.